Hi, everybody. I'm Diane Brady. I'm here with Joanne Lipman, who's now a three-time author. Her latest book is next. She's, of course, Joanne, you're the former editor of USA Today, USA Today Network, Condé Nast Portfolio. I know you from the Wall Street Journal. So you yourself are a master of reinvention. Welcome, and tell us a little bit about what motivated you to write next.
Sure. So first of all, Diane, thank you for having me. It's so much fun and it's such a pleasure to be with you. So next, for those who aren't familiar with the book, it's the Power of Reinvention in Life and Work. It is a deeply reported guide to navigating change in how we live, how we work, how we lead. And literally it is meant for this very moment in time when so many of us are feeling either unmoored or unhappy in our jobs, or simply searching for a more meaningful life or career. And it really literally was inspired by the pandemic, right? 3 years ago, exactly, the world shook for all of us. And it has led to this moment of reappraisal about so many elements of our lives. And that was really what inspired me to write this, because I felt like there was really no roadmap to show us the way, because the entire world, all of us, were in this period of transition all at one time, and we needed a guide.
So because you've got so many big names in the book, I feel like we should start by some of the people that really resonate with you. I know you've got James Patterson, for example, but what were some of the reinvention stories that really stuck?
So what was really fascinating to me, so Diane, the way I did the reporting was I wanted to find people who had successfully gone through big changes in their life, big transformations of all sorts. So some are career, some are people who changed their lives, some are people who had like life-changing aha moments. There's a whole chapter on aha moments. Some are people who came back from crushing failure, or who came back and moved on from terrible trauma. And what was fascinating is I found these great stories of amazing people, some who are famous, but some you haven't heard of, but you should, because they're remarkable. And then I also talked to the experts who study all of these different kinds of change, right? Psychologists, neuroscientists who study creativity, management gurus who study career change. So what was so fascinating when I kind of mapped out these different stories was everybody went through essentially the same stages, and these experts will walk you through the stages in their particular expertise, and they use different words, but they were all describing exactly the same thing. And so
tell us about the stages. What are the stages? It almost sounds like the stages of grief. Is it easy to synthesize?
Sure. So there's 4 stages. They are search, struggle, stop, solution. And what I'll walk you through quickly, and then I can give you an example of how that works in real time. So the search is the first step. It's really interesting. It's when you're collecting information, when you're starting to accumulate this information and experiences that later will transform your life. But here's the thing: almost everybody embarks on a search before they realize that they are doing so. It's unintentional. So you're collecting all of this stuff. Then you move into the second stage, the struggle. The struggle is when you actually start disconnecting from your previous identity, but you have not quite figured out where you're going. It is very uncomfortable. We don't like to talk about it. When we talk about all of these great transformation stories, we kind of leave this part out, but everybody goes through it. It's really, really important. And this is actually where all the important work gets done. The struggle often doesn't end until you reach this third stage, which is the stop. So the stop might be something you bring on yourself, like, I quit my job, or it could be something that is imposed on you, like, I lost my job, I got fired, or, there was an illness or a divorce, some major experience that stops you in your track, or a pandemic strikes, something that just stops. And then only then are you able to kind of get that perspective. It takes you out of your routine, and it gives you the perspective to put together all the previous stages, all that information, the experiences, all of the thoughts that it all coalesces. And that's what actually leads you to the solution.
In the same way that most transformations fail in companies, most reinventions don't work out the way people necessarily hope. Is that fair to say? So what is it? At what stage do we get derailed?
Sure, sure. Well, let me just walk you through how those 4 steps
Okay.
work, how they do work, because it's related to your question of what's derailed. Because that first step, when I talk about the search, many, if not most of the people I talked to did not know where they were going. So a huge piece of this is to have an open mind, right? That you need to sort of understand, you need to be open to where your experiences are taking you. So I will give you a couple of very quick examples, and then we can also talk about what derails you. But for example, James Patterson, who you mentioned, obviously, the biggest, most successful writer in our country right now. And James Patterson, I'd first met more than 30 years ago when I was at the Wall Street Journal and I was covering advertising, and he was an ad guy. And I went to go interview him because he was running the Burger King campaign, and I was writing about the burger wars. And I went to go interview him one morning, and he kind of told me that he actually really wanted to be a writer, and he had actually published a book, and he gave me this book that he had gotten published. And I later read it. I don't remember the details. I dug up the Kirkus review of that particular book early on, and it called it abysmal. It said, "This book deserves drowning." I'm quoting, deserves drowning. And so, at the time it was like, well, good thing this guy has a day job, right? And then here we are, 3+ decades later, and he has a massive success. So he walked me through the stages, and he too went through this period of, the search, where he was trying to find his voice and trying to write books while still in the ad agency. The struggle, where he started gaining some success, but he was too afraid to leave. He didn't know that if he would have security if he left this good job that he had. That was a struggle. The stop, which literally he can tell you the moment where he was sitting on traffic on a Sunday night, coming home from the beach, watching he's in standstill traffic, the other side of the road heading toward the beach. The cars are going whoosh, whoosh. I'm quoting him, whoosh. And he said he had this aha moment. He's like, I'm on the wrong side of the road. I need to be there, going back to the beach. And he went back to the office and he quit. So that was what gave him finally the understanding. I've got to do this. And by the way, the same process happens for everyone, not just famous people. I mean, I have a wonderful example of a guy named Chris Donovan, who was a telephone repairman for years and years and years. He had a secret hobby of sketching designs, these fantastical designs for women's shoes. But it was just like a little secret thing he did on the side that he would doodle at work. And he ultimately, he got prostate cancer. And that was his aha moment to say, you know what, life's too short. He took early retirement. He went back to design school. And today he is literally a women's couture shoe designer. He was named Best of Boston by Boston Magazine at 61 years old. So, the hottest new fashion designer. Anyway, it was very common to sort of all kinds of very different transitions.